And so I think going into 2026, this is going to be my mantra. I think it's peace in simplicity. That's what I'm going to focus on in 2026. And the reason being is because, you can't help other people if you don't have peace in your own life. And so here they are, 5 ways to find peace in simplicity. Number 1, you got to reduce inputs before adding solutions. So peace often returns when you stop overstimulating your mind. So lessen the noise. You don't have to have an opinion on everything. I'm finding that, there's just some things I just don't need to form an opinion on, So you're not required to have an opinion about everything. Fewer screens, right? Stop spending so much time getting sucked down the scroll hole. Get out into God's nature. It recharges you. Simplicity starts by subtracting, right? Get rid of clutter even in around your house. If you have, I've been doing that now for a few months, just like cleaning out the closets, trying to just get rid of some of this stuff, right? I don't even know why I have it. I'm sure you can relate. Okay. Number 2, decide what actually matters today. Decide what matters. Write it down. Not everything deserves your energy. Choose 1 or 2 priorities that align with your values and your beliefs, and then let the rest wait. Top priority's got to be health. It's got to be. You can't do anything if you're not feeling well. And so it's got to be your top priority. Number 3, anchor yourself to rhythm, not urgency. So in this world, everybody wants everything yesterday. It's all about speed, hurry. Well, I've learned that when someone's pressuring you with urgency, there might be more that you need to consider before making a decision, especially in the medical world. When urgency, if there's obviously if it's life threatening, I'm not talking about emergency medicine here, right? I mean, I don't have to say that, do I? But you know what I mean. If there's an urgency, then what's the hurry? Is this really is this a real emergency, or is the urgency being fabricated so that you don't take more time to assess what's going on and what your other options are? So it's about a rhythm. It's not about urgency. Nature operates in rhythms, doesn't rush. Right? When you live by constant urgency, peace disappears. Rhythm restores calm and clarity. Okay. Number 4, own less. Oh yeah. Own less mentally and physically. Clutter isn't just in closets. It's in commitments, expectations, and unresolved thoughts. Simplicity creates space to breathe. So what I've been doing this year for the last several months is thinking about everything that I do, I want to close the circle on. So if I start a project, I got to think about it. Am I going to start this project? Because how am I going to be able to come from full circle on this and close the circle on this? Am I able to do that? If I'm able to do that, then I do it. Right. But it's very important, even picking up around my house. In my messy kitchen, I'm trying to get much better at closing the circle. If I cook something or whatever, I got to do the dishes right away and close the circle. And you'll be amazed about the impact on your life that can have. Just by committing to yourself, every action I take, I'm going to close the circle as quickly as I can in a rhythm, right? Not with urgency, but in a rhythm. Okay, so maybe that visual will help you. It's totally helping me. I just think about, I got to do those dishes because I got to close the circle. Return to stewardship over control. I love this one. So you don't need to manage everything, only steward what's been entrusted to you. Peace comes when you stop trying to control outcomes and start honoring responsibility, right? You can't control everybody. You can't control what they think of you. You can't control your kids. You can't control your husband. You can't control your wife. You can't control your sister. You can't control your mom. Like, you got no control over anything, right? But you can accept stewardship. And when you accept stewardship, then you slip into the role of model, right? You model what you want to see more of. Being a steward of even a bit of land, right, is very important. It's important to me that I make sure that, we have all these tumbleweeds everywhere because of all the wind lately. But like, I'm a steward of this land. I can let those tumbleweeds stay there forever, or I can get out there and start, little by little, getting them gathered and getting them off the property, right? Not because anybody will even see them, because I'm way out here in the country, but it matters to me. Because I'm a steward of this land. These are my animals. I need to be a steward of the land and take care of them because I am grateful for them. I am grateful for God's design. I am mesmerized by the peace that animals bring me. And so I honor that. I want to honor that. I'm a steward of that. You can only be a steward of your relationships as well, though. You can't make your spouse act a certain way. You can't. You can only honor the relationship and uphold your part, your role in it, and model the type of respect, the type of, exchanges that you have with people. You can only be a steward of those relationships. You cannot control. And I think too often we want to control with good intentions, with good intentions, we want to control. But like, even with health, I talk to people all the time, that are on the absolute opposite side of their spouses when it comes to health. Their spouses are all about the pharma and, oh, that stuff doesn't work. It's just ridiculous. It's stupid. Their brother gives them a hard time about that, or their wife, or their, husband, or whatever. But they know it. They know in their intuition is leading them towards real solutions for health. But we can't make other people do that. All we can do is model that behavior. But I'll tell you, when you start getting results, it's a game changer. So, that can be a great motivator, wanting to get your results, staying consistent and committed to what you're doing to cultivate health in your own life. When you have naysayers all around you, right, who don't want to hear about this or don't want to hear about that, they just like their pills and they like, the medical model. It's like, oh, well, this is what I got to do. They can't argue with results. So let that be a motivator, right? You don't got to say anything. When you start saying stuff about it and telling people what to think, you're just getting into a spot where you're trying to control, and that's not stewardship. That's not stewardship. So, you can just come at it from a different point of view. And these are some simplistic ways to kind of keep your peace, understanding that you don't have to have control, own less mentally and physically, anchor yourself with your rhythm, right? Not urgency. Don't rush yourself. Understand step by step. You know what becoming an expert looks like? It's not talent. It's practice. So commit yourself to practicing and decide what actually matters to you as we go into the new year, and reduce inputs before adding solutions. It's about subtraction. You're listening to Naturally Inspired Radio. I'm Tammy Cuthbert Garcia. Merry Christmas. We're going into the second hour. We'll be right back.